Hello, welcome back again to another video. So in this video I'm going to be doing a market recap for the past week that has been, and the market direction where it has been, and then where it is going to go next week. We are going to make analysis to anticipate the market direction for next week. So if you are an enthusiast for these let me say XXXUSD pairs, I think this video is going to be for you because it will give you insight on what to expect come next week. Okay, so the first thing that I like to analyze in such scenarios is the DXY. Okay, the DXY, basically it's important in that it tells us the direction that the market is going to go, and we know if the DXY is selling, then XXXUSD pairs are going to be doing the opposite. So this is what I mean. Just quickly, let me take out my text here. So if the DXY is selling, we are going to be expecting pairs like GBPUSD, pairs like EURUSD, AUDUSD. These are the ones that I like to focus on. Okay, but you can go further and look at pairs like NZDUSD. And yeah, I think these are the most common ones that we like to correlate with the DXY. However, gold is not part of this category because I noticed from my own experience gold has been doing its own things, so I don't like correlating other pairs with gold. But for these four, you can actually try to focus on the inverse of what the DXY is actually doing. So in this case, I want us to take a quick look at what the DXY has been doing. Okay, so here we can see that it was on a strong uptrend. Okay, and then it reversed. It has been on a very strong bullish move, and mind you guys, this is on the daily time frame. So this bearish momentum has been quite impulsive. And then there's something else that I can see. I don't know if you can also see this. It has just broken this loss, indicating that there is a possibility that the market will continue to go down, because ideally this was supposed to have been the support. I would have expected the market to come here, maybe bounce a few times, give us some reversal pattern, either an inverse head and shoulder, or at least something like double bottom to indicate that it will buy. But this support didn't hold. Clearly you can see the market broke through it impulsively. So this leads us to the question, where is the DXY going? Where are we expecting to see the DXY move to? So let me just first identify my key points. I normally like to use a line chart. It helps me tell clear bounces where the market has been bouncing. So let's just first identify the very major points. Okay, then maybe we can try to see. Yeah, okay, as you can see, let me just explain really quick. This was actually the highest point that the market got to. That is why I highlighted it. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, and then we had this as our most recent support, which failed to actually hold. Okay, oh sorry, let's just clone this. So this has been a support. but it was broken, and you can see actually the market came back to test this support and resistance, because I hope that all of you are aware of the concept of support and resistance. What we mean by support and resistance, these are areas of sensitivity in the market. So let me just explain with a scenario here. You see, this is a support, that's a resistance. This is a support, that's a resistance. So basically, we expect when the market reaches this point, we are expecting to see some sort of buys or some sort of a reaction. The reason as I'm saying this is a support level is because you can see there were some bounces here. Let me not point because I've just remembered you guys can't see where I'm pointing at, so I'd rather use yeah, let me just use arrows. You can see the market bounced there quite a few times, bounced there, bounced there, and then the market held once it broke through that ceiling. You see, it was bouncing over here, over here, over here, and then it broke through, came back, retested, went above, came, played around this zone, gave us a double bottom, and it bought towards that point. So that is what we mean by support and resistance. Okay. So once the market breaks either of these zones, we expect if it breaks the upside, we want to see it retest around this zone, give us a reversal pattern that we can use to clarify our pattern and then actually buy. Although we don't trade the DXY as such, personally I don't trade the DXY, I just use it to get my market momentum. But the same principles that I'm using on the DXY to get to know the direction, it helps give me clarity to know what opportunities I'm going to be looking for when I go to these other pairs. Okay. So if it breaks to the downside, we expect to see some sort of a retest and then a drop. But in this case, I can see that the market dropped, didn't necessarily retest this point. Maybe you can find that retest on the smaller time frames. We'll just confirm. It broke, guys, quite impulsively. Did it give us a retest? Not any that I can see. Looks like there was none, but it shows that the bearish momentum was quite strong, that we didn't even get a retest. Okay. Okay, you can see we had seen this zone on the daily time frame. So when the market broke through, it came back, retested, and then it's been shooting downwards. So there are two possibilities in this type of scenario. The market could still come back, give us some sort of a reversal pattern over here, and then sell completely. Or if it doesn't want to do that, for now, personally, my bias is the DXY is on a strong bearish momentum. I'm not even trying to look for reversals or anything. But if it changes perspective, it could come. Oh, sorry, my guys. The market could come, retest again, and then simply buy. But that is subject to other factors. For now, we are going to be keeping a watch because we know that our potential direction currently is just the bearish direction. We are in a sell trend, bearish trend, sorry, because we have the bullish trend that is on the market is buying, and then we have a bearish trend which signals that the market is selling. Okay, so guys, this is just me doing my analysis and preparations for the week ahead. and I thought that it would be wise if I shared some of this analysis with you people. So currently the market looks like it has broken out, but we have to be very cautious. We just don't get into a trade because it has broken out. We know that we are still in a very strong sell momentum. We are still going to be keeping watch for something of this sort. If you use this as a bias to confirm your buys, you might actually lose a lot of money. Yeah, we have to wait for solid confirmations before entering. The only way I'll support this bullish bias is if this market actually breaks above this point, because on the daily we saw that this is a very crucial point. If it breaks above and retests and give us a reversal pattern here, either an inverse head and shoulder, a double bottom, because I like to trade double bottoms and double tops. They're some of the most profitable patterns ever in the entire trading, technical trading strategy as far as it's concerned. So this will be the only possibility, only scenario where we'll start to look for buyers. But for now, we are anticipating sell momentum on the DXY, and this means that we are supposed to go look for some other opportunities, buying opportunities on AUDUSD, EURUSD, NZDUSD, and uh, just those pairs that XXXUSD pairs. So let's go to EURUSD first. I'll just delete any analysis in case I have any. Okay. So as you can see, this should be telling you guys that whatever I've been telling you is just right. Because as you have seen, the DXY market has been on a very strong sell momentum, but it's not the case for EURUSD. EURUSD has been on a very strong buy momentum. They've actually been doing the inverse. So you can come here and check, do your analysis. Let's first switch to a line chart, just make it easy for us to do our analysis. Okay. Great. So this is our current Euro USD setup, and we're looking for buys. The reason being, we see we had a former double top here. Let me not call it a double top. At this point, this was a resistance, a zone of resistance. It was our ceiling, and then we had our support over here. So currently, the market is for the buyers. We are supposed to be looking for buying opportunities come the market open next week. So let's first dive into the H4 time frame and see what are we able to see at this point. Okay, let me just try to zoom out a little bit, because I've seen we had a very strong resistance at this point. You can see the sales that emanated from that point were quite strong, but the market actually broke through impulsively, as you can see in our current setup. Yes, right. This market just broke through, and signifies that there are strong buys which are currently going on in the market. So our work is going to be very simple. We are supposed to find opportunities where we could potentially get into buys. Okay. We are supposed to be looking for opportunities where we could potentially start getting into buys. Of course, we won't just enter buys for the sake of it having broken the resistance. No, we are going to be looking out for things like reversal patterns. So we'll give the market time to make its corrections and reversals before we can actually dive into our buys. Okay, so this tells us that the market is still, we call this retracements. When the market is moving up and then comes back, that is a retracement because it's like it's breathing, the actual momentum is bullish, but it's selling a little bit, which we call that a retracement. Just a small pullback, and then it will continue to go in its original direction. Okay, so we can do away with that. So for now, I can't claim that I know exactly where the market is going to reverse, but I know one thing for sure. This point, I know that this whole point is a very strong point of. I know that that point is a very strong point of support because it was a resistance. It has turned into a support. So should the market retrace to these zones, and it actually gives me reversal patterns like an inverse head and shoulder, or it gives me double bottom, I'll be confirmed to actually enter my trade. So I won't enter until and unless I see a reversal pattern being printed. So once it gets, maybe I'm anticipating that this will happen from somewhere like this point. I don't know, we'll just keep a watch and see. So we'll look forward to jump into that trade. Although for me, I don't like swinging trades nowadays. I'll just look for short-term buying opportunities and collect my profits as I continue to watch for other entry opportunities. Okay, we can see for the last couple of days the market has just been consolidating. Uh, it hasn't been moving so far away from these points. It has been confined within this zone, just not moving anywhere really. So these are some of the things that actually happened. You can see that I think this was also some sort of a consolidation before we got a push to the upside. Let me just highlight it. You can see that initially the market was consolidating around this point. It didn't have any real direction inside here. Okay, but eventually it broke to the upside, and then it started to retrace, and now it is also consolidating a little bit. So maybe if it breaks the downside, it comes back and then gives us our buys from this point. Particularly, I'll be interested in buys if the market breaks to the downside and gives us some buying opportunities. I call them signals. Once it gives us entry signals for buys, I'll be looking for those buys. I don't like to trade counter trend because sometimes it can get messy. The trend is your friend, so try as much as possible to avoid trading against the trend. Okay, so let's take a look at AUDUSD. Again, we said that the DXY was going to be selling. We saw some sell opportunities on the DXY. So we are anticipating that this AUDUSD is supposed to be giving us buying opportunities. So we need to be keen and watch out for buying opportunities. See, we had a very, very massive bullish pressure. I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me just mark. Okay, even before I mark that point first, you can see that the market came I don't know how many tips this was, guys, but this was actually really crazy. Sorry about that. Let me just reload. I don't know why I zoomed in like that. Oops. Let me just open this trading view again afresh. Sorry about that. We are taking a look at AUDUSD. Some people call it AUDUSD. I'm used to calling it AUDUSD. But as I was saying, you can see that we had some extremely crazy, I don't know how to call this, but you can see all this bullish momentum. It was quite a lot. Let's just see how many pips roughly this market moved from this reversal. Of course, we couldn't have got that. Maybe we could have, but no. I don't wanna lie, I wasn't on that watch out for AUDUSD. It's not a pair that I like to trade most of the time because it plays around most of the time. But as you can see, it gave a very beautiful push over 400 pips to the upside. So let's just identify first our key zones and then see what story the market is telling us. We'll decide from there the next course of action where will we be looking to buy from and stuff like that. Market is currently at a very beautiful place. I don't know if you guys can see that. So for starters, we can see that the market, or let me say price, I just like saying the market. But price came up to that point. It sold. It created some sort of a resistance, of which this just what we've been saying. When the price comes, creates a support like this, because you can see there was a bounce here, there was a bounce there, there was a bounce there. The market has been supporting itself here severally. Came back, went up. So this was a zone of sensitivity. It broke through, eventually it came back, this support and resistance resisted, it sold, and then right now you can see that it's come back, it's playing around this point. Now, what I like about this market is the fact that if you look at the candlestick pattern that it's presenting over here currently, it's a very beautiful pattern. Okay, take a look at this. Let's first analyze using our trend lines and then continue telling the story using the candlestick patterns. Okay, yeah, we can see that we know we are at a point of uh, resistance and support. I like calling this a flip zone. This is where the market changes characteristics. It either reaches here, it sells, or reaches here and buys. So as you can see, we have a breakout. We had a first touch there, second touch for a trend line. And as you guys know my strategy, when the market breaks out at a third touch, that is a very extremely highly probable trade. So I'll not be wrong to say that I'm going to be looking for a buy position from this point in time, you know. These are over 500 pips. It means that if we get into this trade with about if we get into this trade with zero point 0.1 lot size, you'll get out of here with $500. But of course, it won't be $500 because if your broker charges you a swap fee, then it will have reduced. Maybe they'll take some good percentage of that, depending also on how long price will take to move from here to here. And remember, it won't just move very fast, just this way and it's there. No, no, no. I don't see that happening in that manner. What price has most likelihood is coming. Sorry, price can come. Just play around here. It will take some very, 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 very good number of days, unless a miracle happens or unless something big happens and this market actually shoots to that point impulsively without so many playing around this area. So it's also something that we have to look at. So what I was interested in is the fact that if you look keenly, this is a very good pattern that the market is presenting to us. It's almost like a three inside up candlestick pattern, although just that this dodge, yeah, these are dodge. It didn't close. This bullish candle didn't close above it, but either way, what you're going to be looking for, it's just I like this kind of almost looking like a Merabozu, you know, which signals a very good buying possibility, and especially it having occurred at this point, this zone where we call it a flip zone, it shows that there could be some serious buys going to come out of this particular place or zone, if you may like. So we'll just wait for the market to actually break out. Once it breaks out, comes back there, this point is going to be very interesting because it's where we'll be looking for something like a double bottom or an inverse head and shoulder before we take our trades to the upside. Again, it's subject to what the market will do. We will watch out for those reactions before we actually get to execute our trade. Okay, so that is it for AUDUSD. I hope you guys know our bias. We'll just get to the smaller time frames during the week and see how we can go about this trade. For those who don't know, actually, I'm starting a new challenge this coming week where I'll be growing a $10 account for the rest of the year. I won't focus so much on withdrawing. Maybe we'll just be withdrawing once or twice. Of course, once we recoup our initial investment, we will withdraw and then continue to grow the account slowly by slowly until the end of the year because we don't have so much plans for that account before we grow it. Our only interest, you're going to be interested in withdrawing once the year is almost about to end. As I said yesterday, I do not trade on December and in January because the market has never been, it has never given me a good experience trading during those festivities period and early start of the year. I like maybe to just demo trade as I test the market environment and see the market behavior during that particular time. For USD CHF, we know we're expecting sales because it's again in alignment with the DXY selling. So USD XXX, they just follow the direction of the DXY. As you can see, we've been on a very strong bearish momentum, and just like the DXY, we broke a very crucial level of support over here. The market did not support itself. It broke through with very big impulse, with a very big impulse. Now we know that if the market comes back to this point, we are going to be expecting some sales, definitely. Yeah. So it's something else that we have to watch out for. Once the market comes back here, we look for either a head and shoulders pattern or we will look for a double top pattern and maybe some, those flags, the bearish flags or channels that might form to affirm our move to take sales on this trade. I like USDCHF because it normally moves nicely if you get it on the right direction. If you get it in the right direction, you will actually enjoy a lot. I will not dive in deeper into this, but you can just see for yourselves that it hit the resistance. It hit the resistance here, right? It's supposed to have been an arrow, but never mind. This was also supposed to be, not supposed to be, but it was also a resistance point. It hit there and formed its reversal pattern from there. You can see that was a very clear, almost like a double top, although it's not my ideal form of double top because there was no neckline to be retested. But maybe if you look clearly, there was another double top at this point. So this was actually the double top that would have informed ourselves. And of course, we would have had all the reason to take this trade because, as you can see, people, yeah, let me not try to be perfect, but you understand what I mean. Again, we had a touch, we had again another touch, there, second touch, and then we had some form of touch there, but it didn't quite break out. Another touch there, and then we had an impulsive breakout. So definitely, if you are going to be entering this trade, we will definitely time here because I see this was a very nice entry type of pattern. Again, we wouldn't have been entering on the daily time frame. We would have scaled into the smaller time frame to look for these entries, but as you can see, it moved 561 pips to the downside. It moved 561 pips to the downside, and you can imagine each candlestick represents a single day because we are on the daily time frame. So each candlestick took 24 hours to form. Imagine how many days it will have taken you, assuming you entered this trade here. This was on Friday, 21st of February 2025. You will have been exiting that market April, from February to April, guys. Can you imagine that? That happened in April. I think it was April 9th is when you will have been getting out of that trade since February. If you entered the market here, that will have been in 20th February up to 9th of April. Imagine the whole of March will have still been in the trade. That's why I normally like to say you just use the higher time frame to know the overall general momentum of the market, and then scale into the smaller time frame to look for those small pips. Those 50 pips, 60 pips, they're ideal, but that is how I just analyze to get the overall momentum. And as you can see, as per the analysis, you can go and back test. This strategy has always worked in most cases. So you just need to know your reversal patterns. You need to know what you're going to be looking for before you actually enter the market. So with that being said, guys, I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. I might be going live on YouTube trying to grow that account, but if you stick around, come back and follow up on that challenge. We are going to do something massive this year. So if you've been struggling trading forex or you on the verge of giving up, by the end of this challenge, by the end of this year, you should be able to have found your momentum and perfected your trading skill to the latter. It's also a challenge that I'm giving myself because I want to increase my chances of growing extremely small accounts to some really good figures in the forex market, so that whatever happens, even if God forbid, I'm just saying, I just want to have the confidence to know that I can come from nothing and build it up to something. We will look at that account by the end of the year and see where we will be at. And yeah, to God will be the glory. So that being said, this has been the market recap for this week, and I would have wanted to look at gold, but guys, gold is not a joke. Gold is not a joke. As you can see, it has just been on a bullish run. We're not expecting any sales soon, but now the question begs, at what point will you enter your trade? Again, gold is normally very good if you catch it from some really nice points. I don't wanna lie, I'm not an expert trading gold. I personally don't like trading it, but if you get the skill to trade gold, you'll feel very nice. I myself will try as much as possible to learn to trade gold, although it has always humbled me time and again. But with that being said, peace. I'll see you again in the next video. Bye.